have the placebo, basically they would have caramel in alcohol. So they have the actual herb, and then they have the placebo, and the people didn't know what they were taking. They were just like, okay, the boss is telling us to take it, and at that point in Russia, you didn't really want to say no. When you were working in a factory, there was enough leverage. But anyways, what they did was they observed different things for a couple months. How many accidents happened, what was the productivity of those people, how many times they got sick, how many sick days they had to give out to people. In every single category, the people that were taking the adaptogens, the people that were taking the Eleuthero, they would beat the other company. The other factory. So that was some of the early research that came out of Russia at that time. There are three main characteristics that qualify an herb to be an adaptogen. The first one is we talked about this, so they help your body adapt to stress, whether it's emotional or it's physical or it's whatever the source of that is. They're going to help you balance this, what we call the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. So they're going to help you strengthen this axis that the whole of the endocrine system, the whole of this hormonal system and the stress response is hinged upon. So we call it the HPA axis because it's hypothalamus pituitary gland adrenal glands. So HPA axis is something that they are going to be really strengthen the tissue and help for that not to go out of control. The other thing that they do, two of the three, or the second of the three, is they balance various organ systems. And this I find very interesting. So one of the things that they do is they're going to balance the immune system. A lot of them are called immune balancers or immune amphoterics. The reason why amphoteric means that it works both ways, basically. So if let's say this is your normal immune system, like it's like you're strong, but you're not overreacting to things. When your immune system overreacts, it's in overdrive. What are the things that will happen? Allergies, seasonal allergies are basically you're responding overtly to something that you're not supposed to be responding. Tree pollen is, it's part of nature, it's part of creation. We're not supposed to have that extreme response to that. But our immune system is in a certain overdrive, and our sinuses fill up. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that at least in some point of your life, especially in the springtime. Now, the other thing is that can be more serious is autoimmune conditions. Some of the ataxias, actually, we talked about it earlier, can be due to an autoimmune response when the body basically attacks its own nerve cells. It attacks.
That's what I
Mm-hmm.
saw on me.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that is, and there are many examples. Ataxia is of course one of them, but there are many conditions that we are now finding that it's because of an out of balance immune system. There's an overreacting immune tissue that does damage to our normal cells. So it can affect the heart, the kidneys, all those things. So that's the overfunctioning immune system. And then, of course, on the other side, we have the underfunctioning immune system. That's pretty easy to imagine. Someone gets sick a lot. Every time there's the cold season kicks in October, November, they're sick until March. Give or take a few weeks, they just fall prey to all kinds of viruses all the time. And oftentimes the two are combined. So whenever there's an autoimmune condition, actually a lot of times, some part of the immune system is actually underfunctioning. So there's an overfunctioning part and then there's an underfunctioning part. Because your immune system is very complex. It's not just like one type of cell and that's it. There's so many different T cells, B cells, helper cells. So what a lot of these adaptogens are going to do, and there's a lot of evidence about that, is if you're in overdrive, they help you calm down. If you're in under functioning, then it's going to tone you. They're going to strengthen you. And the reason why they can do that is because a lot of times they nurture that tissue, like bone marrow and the immune tissue, the lymph tissue, that is going to be responsible for the immune response. So again, looping it back to the self-regenerative effects of the body, when you nourish that tissue, then it's going to help heal up. It's going to heal up faster, and it's going to do its job better, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? Okay, and then the third thing, and we'll look at this in a little bit, just more details, just with certain herbs. So the third thing is that they are non-toxic within a broad dose range, which is important because we have herbs that are very, very helpful for us, but they're also, you have to be very careful because they can be toxic pretty easily, pretty fast. But none of these are going to be in that category. By definition, an adaptogen has to be non-toxic within a broad dose range. Paragraph B, we don't fully understand how adaptogens do all of these things, but there are certain things that we have observed repeatedly, and one of the things is that they help lower the cortisol levels after the stressor is gone. So here we talked about how your adrenal cortex is going to produce cortisol when there's a stressor from the outside or there's an emotional stress. The cortisol is going to shoot up. And what it's going to do, we talked about this, it elevates blood pressure, it elevates blood sugar, it increases your alertness, which is good. That's what you need when you are in that acute stress situation. You want to have those things because you want to be able to respond whatever the stress is. Even if it, it can be an argument. And you want to be aware of your, in that case, it can be actually a bad thing because what you need to think about is like, I gotta get out of this argument, the boundaries thing. But after the stressor is gone, what we want to do is, we don't want the cortisol to be up there. Cortisol has a circadian rhythm, meaning like in the morning it's high and then it gets lower by the afternoon. So in a normal, calm phase, when you're calm and you're just enjoying sitting at the beach. So what you want to do is, after the stressor is gone, you want the cortisol level to drop back to where it's supposed to be, during that time or at that time of the day. So this is one thing that adaptogens will help you do. So all of those effects of the high blood pressure and the potential tissue damage that comes with high cortisol levels, that is going to be eliminated faster. The other thing that it is going to do is it enhances mitochondrial function. Mitochondria, again, they are your energy, your little batteries that create energy for you from glucose. That's the last part of the glucose metabolism that happens in the mitochondria. So basically, in other words, better energy production, more efficient energy production from your food that you eat. So better, high energy levels, that's kind of a practical implication. A lot of them are also really potent antioxidants, and some of them are actually nervines, so they strengthen the nervous tissue, the neuron tissue throughout your body. So they actually nourish that, the nerves and the nerve cells and ganglia. And then paragraph C, it's important to deal with the acute stress, when we are in a stressful situation before we can address the chronic stress situation. Because here's what happens, like when we are in chronic stress, like let's say that in the worst case scenario, we worry about, we're in a traffic jam, and then we go somewhere, we are nervous about a long line at the store, and then our daughter calls us and it's like, this happened, and that, shoots her cortisol up. What's going to happen is that your stress hormone levels are going to be constantly high. So this is what you will mostly address with these adaptogens. Like I said, some of the things that I'm finding actually, with the acute stress, we talked about exercise. There are certain herbs that are really helpful for acute stress. chamomile tea, for instance. Well, behold, that's actually a very effective way to calm passion flower. The natives used it. That's also a very, very potent herb to kind of calm you down from that instant stress. Breathing exercises, I suggest, just learn some kind of very simple, it doesn't have to be super, elaborate, but something that I personally like to do is breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. So that is a very good practice to calm down your physiology. You want to try that right now? So let's do it. So 1. So I can't do it with you, but I'm going to count. So for 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to hold it. 1. Exhale. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. So what this exercise does is actually what they've noticed in what happens in the brain is it activates the alpha waves, which is basically when you're in a more restful state, like when you're asleep, actually the alpha waves are activated. That's an electric impulse in the brain that signifies a more relaxed state. So you do this for 2 minutes. Anytime you can do it in the car, you can do it while sitting. It actually is going to help increase those alpha waves, helps you calm your physiology. And even people with asthma, very interesting, certain breathing exercises like this one, they've noticed that the remodeling of the airways, the disruption of the kind of this chronic discombobulated state is actually reversed through the breathing exercise. Because there's in asthma, there can be a chronic inflammation of the airways. But for us, when it comes to stress management, especially in the acute phase, breathing exercises are very helpful and just that simple. 5 seconds, inhale, 5, hold it, 5 exhale. Very so calm now. All right, let's in this last phase, let's look at some of the herbs that I have put them in the notes. So paragraph A, American ginseng or Panax incifolius. This is native here in the eastern side of North America and in Canada. Unfortunately, it's being over-harvested, and you rarely find it in its native habitat. So you only want to actually purchase what's basically grown, like cultivated American ginseng, because it's kind of, I don't know, on people, anyway, so it's being over-harvested, so you want to protect that. Daniel Boone actually he made his fortune by selling, he was known to be a fur trader, but actually he's made his fortune mostly by selling American ginseng.
Hunters who traipse all over the mountains in western North Carolina, they always have their eyes open for it. I don't hunt, but I hike, and I haven't seen ginseng in the wild in a long time.
Yeah, it's almost completely gone, so, but yeah, I can see, they've harvested it. So the natives actually use it for hunting, to enhance hunting skills, for shortness of breath when it goes with fatigue, which is basically what they did was if someone was exhausted to the point where this HPA axis, they didn't know the terms, but when someone was exhausted to that point, and it was mostly physical exhaustion, they exhausted all their supplies, they exhausted their adrenal stress response. American ginseng was really used for that to regain those reserves and to merge that HPA axis. They also used American ginseng for convulsions, for wounds, bites, and arthritis topically, actually. So the focus. It's a moistening herb, so it has a energetically, basically, it's more neutral and it's moistening in its qualities. So it's often used in dry conditions like dry and wheezing asthma, dry mouth, and dry cough. And I'm just, saying that I listed out the things that all of these herbs, or some of the things that all of these herbs are used for besides stress response, because when you start to look into these with a closer look, what you will find is that you can actually pick the adaptogen, pick the herb that is fitting you better, because it targets some of the other problems that you might be dealing with. For instance, if you have dry and wheezing asthma or something that causes you to have dry mouth, one of those conditions is called Sjogren's disease, which is an autoimmune condition that targets the salivary glands. And we talked about how these adaptogens are going to help your immune system, so it helps with that part, but it's also going to help with the dryness part, the dry mouth part. It's a bitter herb, so it's going to stimulate digestion. Anything that, like if you have digestive problems, any food or any herb that has a bitter taste, you can incorporate into your diet, especially before your meals, because it's going to be stimulating to your digestive juice production. So it's also, it's another added benefit to that. A very inexpensive way to do it is everybody can grow an artichoke plant in their yard. I mean, you can buy it too. It's very cheap. But the artichoke leaf is really bitter, and you can use that before meals to stimulate your digestive tract, the digestive juices. We talked about the immune system, immune amphoteric or balancer functions, and it's not overly stimulating. Like you've probably heard of Asian ginseng. We'll talk about it in a minute. Asian ginseng is one of the most stimulating adaptogens. They're going to, besides having a stress response, they're very heating. It's a very stimulating herb. So for some people that are more on the type A side, they get agitated, anxious easily. That can be a little bit too much. Paragraph B, ashwagandha. How many of you have heard of ashwagandha before? Okay. So ashwagandha has been used traditionally in India and Pakistan, in a lot of the cultures actually, even in Africa too. The part that we use is the root, and ashwagandha is actually a nightshade, which is interesting because when you think of nightshades, generally the roots are toxic. But ashwagandha is an exception. We can use the root for basically targeting your stress response, your HPA axis, to nourish that, and it's not toxic. It's totally safe. Ashwagandha is a type of herb that is going to be, or the type of adaptogen that is going to be very calming, and it can help with mental fog. It actually is useful in women that have mental fog related to PMS. It's used for that. But any kind of cloudy thinking, anxiety, nervous exhaustion is going to be helpful for. It's actually also been used widely as a blood tonic because it's very rich in iron.